Hi, once again, this is Sindhu and Rajiv from OSHO Himalayas. And in this podcast, we're going to talk about another beautiful gift of OSHO. It's called the OSHO No-Mind. It's another meditative therapy which OSHO has given to us. There are 4 of those. We already have a video for OSHO Mystic Rose. You may have seen that. So let's look at OSHO No-Mind. Sindhu, you'd like to tell us about OSHO No-Mind process?
Yeah, so it was the first meditative therapy that Osho created actually, and just to go over what a meditative therapy is, it's meditation, moment to moment you are in action, encountering yourself, and it acts as a therapy, meaning freeing all the repressed energy layers from the unconscious. Yeah. So, No Mind is a 1-week process wherein 2 hours daily you meet, wherein the first hour you use gibberish as a tool to clean your mind, the conscious mind, the unconscious mind, and the second hour then you sit silently. That creates a space for silence to happen. And as other meditative therapies, it directly bypasses your conscious analytical mind. It's pure, works purely energetically. It's again your individual process, but acts collectively. Yes, another gift from Osho.
Yeah. Actually, now that you say it, I want to read out a quote first from Osho.
Sure.
Okay, so this is what Osho is saying about this process. He's saying, I am dealing with a contemporary man who's most restless being that has ever evolved on the earth. But people do become silent. You just have to allow them to throw out all their madness, insanity. Then they themselves become silent. I can relate to that. I've lived a very hectic and busy life myself. Which meant, many thoughts buzzing through my head. I was planning, I was trying to do so many things. I still do sometimes. And this process just gives me that space to throw out. The mind feels less chattery. Even the quality of my sleep gets better as I do this. And, we've both done this process many, many times. So, now, maybe you want to talk about where did this gibberish word come from, and what is this 1 hour of sitting in gibberish like?
So gibberish actually means using nonsense words, sounds, gestures, talking in a language that you do not know or you speak. Yeah. So if you know Hindi, English, Punjabi, Gujarati, you speak in Chinese, Japanese, German, Italian.
Right.
It comes from a Sufi mystic called Jabbar. I think he was in Persia somewhere. And as I heard Osho saying, that he never gave any sermons or discourses. Whenever people would come and ask, okay, master, give us some gyan. So he would either talk in gibberish or he would just sit silently. And Osho said many people realized to Buddhahood under his... just using this.
Yeah, I find it a very scientific way which was given us of a cathartic way, for us to unload stuff that we are carrying. It could be things we have not said, like he's saying, say what you wanted to say but have not been able to say, and even otherwise, when I'm doing gibberish, God knows from where many nonsensical things come out, and it doesn't make any sense to me, but still at the end of it, I feel much lighter after going through and doing gibberish for a while. It is a master stroke again from Osho.
Yes, and so valid for this age, man. Yeah, we are gathering, we're bombarded with information all the time in this digital world that we live in. And there is so much kachra. Yeah, there's so much garbage that we have accumulated. The mind is constantly running with innumerable thoughts. There are tensions, our day-to-day stress, that has been accumulated not only in the mind but also in our body. The body is carrying
That's it.
a lot of tension, and Osho created active meditations, dynamic Kundalini, to release that. But now this is even more deeper, no
Absolutely.
mind as a process to really have that freedom to express. Yes,
Right.
for that 1 hour, he says, be total, be authentic, be passionate.
Right.
Yes, and it is like a continuous expression. There is no gap.
Right.
And when you do it continuous, you break through that constant verbalization of the mind.
Right.
And yes, it's the best way, he says, the most scientific way to clean your mind.
And then what happens in the second hour?
The second hour, naturally, then you fall into the space that gibberish creates. And as Osho guides us to our center, he says, go deep, deep, and deep, and really like an arrow. Once you're empty, once you've created naturally, you fall into your center, you fall into the being, which has no thoughts, which has just silence and peace.
Right. Right. Yeah, on our own, when sometimes if any of us have tried sitting and you could suddenly be sitting for a while and there could be thousands of thoughts going through the head and you're just like, and earlier on I used to feel very restless sitting for a while, the body is moving, the thoughts are moving. And after a while it could become almost a torture to try to sit silently. But for me now, once you've done this, then it's sort of easier. The silence sort of lands on you much more easily. And yeah, you experience that feeling of no mind, as the name says, after having done gibberish for one hour. And as the week progresses, it keeps becoming deeper and deeper. Yeah, and think about doing it in a group or doing it at Osho Himalayas. What's the
Osho Himalayas, we have the presence of these mountains, which just gives us such a centering, and the vastness of the valley. So I feel whenever I'm doing gibberish, I'm really giving it to the sky. I'm giving it all, releasing, unburdening. And the nature always supports that. And then, to come back to the center, to your being, is much more easier that way.
Right. See, I also feel that to be able to, in this space, do Osho Dynamic Meditation in the morning,
Right.
Osho Kundalini in the afternoon, and Osho Evening Meeting, the three pillars, as Osho puts it, they sort of create the space or hold the space for all of us. And when the process happens, typically between 10 and 12 or so in the morning, it sort of creates a nice full day. So 7 days in this can become really a beautiful gift we can give to ourselves, So we are in a group setting, we are group, and the group energy is supporting us. But it's so much an individual process. It's like there is a time for me to be with myself, and yeah, it works wonders.
Yeah, the lightness it brings inside. Again, the space that it creates. All meditative therapies create space. And I think this is such a good and the first meditative therapy that you should do in that sense, especially for this modern man, especially for the age that we live in. To be able to get that space to really express everything.
That's right.
With our totality, with our passion, involving the body, mind together, creating that space. But I have a question. Do you think really the thoughts stop in 1 week? Like, absolutely, are we absent of thoughts? Because it says no mind.
I know the word is such, and it's pointing to a direction is what my feeling is. But as you go on that journey, it's like you're slowly gaining a bit of a space between you, the real you, and the thoughts.
Yes.
And It's just the attachment with those thoughts, the way I would sometimes earlier on get entangled with a thought and I'll be with that thought for a very long time. And now there are more breaks in between. So there's a bit of a space, you can watch it and then you can say, okay, like you're sitting relaxed, you're sort of aware, something comes up, you're not really judging it, good thought, bad thought. And it's a nice way you sort of play with this and slowly something happens, like you get more space inside.
True.
Yeah, it's not, yeah, I wouldn't call it like no thought, but you have a space from which you are watching, and perhaps the flow of traffic slows down or becomes lesser. Something like that is my experience. Yeah.
And of course, you could have glimpses of no thought as well, spaces when maybe just the watcher is there, that emptiness is there, and
That's
there's nothing happening at the background as well.
Right.
And sometimes, the background, still some things are happening, but the foreground is your awareness, that flame of awareness that Osho talks about.
Absolutely. So the way I see it, Sindhu, is that, we're doing these daily meditations. So many of you may be already practicing Osho active meditations, maybe OSHO Dynamic, OSHO Kundalini, OSHO Nad Brahma, OSHO Nataraj meditation, any of those. And each of that gives us a beautiful experience and each of that makes us feel good. And it's the way I compare this is more to like a shower a day or sort of cleaning your house in a day or whatever. And then sometimes like, you do spring cleaning and, you want to go a little deeper and, clean things really deeply. And that's how these processes really help. A no-mind really helps. Yeah, so whenever you've done a no-mind, it's like you feel so fresh. The spring has come.
Yes.
You can feel the whole thing more, you can feel the nature more, you can hear the birds more. Everything becomes more.
And I also feel that a lot more energy comes to me.
That's true.
Whenever I've done these meditative therapies, like suddenly, like there's a gush of energy. I have more energy during the day.
Right.
My sleep quality is so much better. I
Right.
may not need those long hours, but really I sleep deeply. That awareness is not only restricted to the meditation hall.
Right.
I carry it outside in every work that I do.
Right.
The no-mind space, the creativity for me enhances.
It takes a new leap, yeah?
Yeah, it takes a new leap, lot more creative ideas comes. So if you are stuck somewhere in your life with your job, relationship, anything, and you need that gush of energy, to take you for taking the next step in your life, or if you are a creative person and you feel a bit stagnant, I feel this is such a good course.
It is indeed,
New ideas, that new fresh, you feel so fresh throughout the day.
And especially the way people are busy now, they can take a 1 week off from work. It's a beautiful gift you give to yourself. But then also you have space during the day. So if you really have some urgent business to attend and if you feel you can do it while you're away from your physical place of work, like we do dynamic in the morning, 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock is roughly the no-mind process. And then in the afternoon, you can spend some time, or in the night, you can spend some time doing your own business if you need to. And then give the rest of the time as a gift to yourself.
Sure.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful thing.
Or just immerse in the Himalayas and in the nature.
Yeah,
Give yourself that 1 week of detox, real
if
detox.
you can, nothing like it. Nothing like it, And like I say, you do the process, come and take a dip in the pool. Like it's so refreshing. And that gives you the energy to keep going. And probably you start to look younger, you start to feel more energetic, you become more creative. Yeah, it's a beautiful gift. Like as a financial background person, it's a good investment into ourselves.
True.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye, namaste.